Well, hello, everyone. I'm Keith Jowers, founder of Dads for Life and the Dad Connection live show and podcast. Welcome to the Dad Connection, Jason Brown.
Hey, thanks so much, Keith. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, sir. And I know that you are a busy guy, not only in the studios and working in the film industry, but you're also a dad and husband and taking care of your family as well. So, we're the Dad Connection. I'd like to know a little bit, Jason, about your family and your background and maybe your children also and what they're involved in today.
Yeah, absolutely. And they keep me busier than most. So, yeah, I've been married for 13 years to my beautiful wife, Crystal. We live here in Franklin, Tennessee, and we have two children. I have a 7-year-old little boy named Beckett. And then I also have a 10-year-old daughter named Ella. And Ella is really into theater, into acting, musical theater. So she's done a couple plays over the past few years. And then Beckett, he's very into sports. So flag football and baseball, and he's just all boy. And so it's fun to try to lead them and also watch them and their personalities and just kind of grow. And it's an awesome thing.
Well, I think that's so interesting because one is into sports. And did you like sports growing up yourself?
I did. I love sports. So I played college football at the University of North Alabama, and so I was a safety in a corner, and I also had some baseball offers, and so sports was a huge, huge part of my life.
Right, and then your daughter's going into the industry that you like, and that's kind of interesting as well, isn't it?
It's God has a funny way of passing things on and teaching you, and so I get to see my daughter embrace an art that I love, and it's very cool to see.
That's really awesome. I want to ask you though, what do you like best about being a dad?
Wow. You know what? That's a tough question. I mean, I enjoy seeing them grow up. I enjoy seeing them change. I enjoy seeing what God has kind of hidden inside of them. And, as they get older, they get to explore and see those things. I think very specifically, my parents got divorced at a very young age, and, that kind of had its effects on me. And so I enjoy the opportunity to kind of change that in my generation. I enjoy the opportunity, to shepherd them in a way that I feel like will not only affect my children, but their children and for generations down the line. And so, I just kind of look at it from that standpoint, and it's fun just to watch them grow up and to do my best. We still make mistakes, and at the end of the day, we try our best, but it's really interesting to see yourself in them and try to shepherd them along.
It is interesting because as our daughter was growing up, I remember just seeing some things that looks real familiar. My mom reminded me, yes, because you did those things, right? So, and now when I see her and her daughter together, she's saying, I can't believe you're doing this. I said, yeah, I can't believe you did those things either when you were that age, So I mean, to see yourself in them and to see them embrace some of the gifts that's been put in you, it's really awesome, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. My wife always looks at me when my son does something, and she just looks at me and she says, that's your son. That's you. That's you. That's from your side.
That's awesome, Jason. So, well, let me ask you a question. I like to talk to dads about, how they like being a dad, and we try to encourage dads that you're going to be there for life. So just be a dad for life starting now. So, and I know some dads, my son-in-law being one of them, that spends individual time as well as group time with the family. So, do you schedule time individually? I mean, you've got a very busy schedule. I mean, how do you do that if you do it? And then what do you do as a group family sometimes? Do you go to movies? I mean, what do you do sometimes?
Yeah, I don't think we probably don't spend as much time as we should, and we're just learning this. I've been very, very fortunate. I had an 80-year-old gentleman named Bruce Kreider that I met about 6 years ago, and we did some one-on-one discipleship. So he discipled me for about 2 years. And one thing I remember him saying is, Jason, there's time that you have with God. There's time that you and your wife need with God, and there's also time that you and your kids and your wife need with God together. And those are distinct, separate times. And so that was the first time I'd ever heard anything like that. And so, we try to schedule time to go and do fun things. We love traveling. Last year we pulled our kids out of school and we homeschooled them for a semester, and we toured around Europe for a little while. And so that was probably one of the best times I've ever had with my family. We literally woke up every morning with Ella and Beckett, my wife, and just said, hey, what are we going to go explore today? So that was a very cool thing to spend all that time with them. We love movies. So we try to do that as well. And then we're trying this now where we're trying to separate them and do some one-on-one time. And so I'm taking my son with my father-in-law to a race this next weekend just to spend some time with them. And then also my wife and my daughter have some trips planned just for them together. And so, we try to spend some time with them together, but then also individually so that they get their own time with each one of us. And, so that's some of the things that we try to do.
And that's so important. I talk to dads, I encourage them to look for those teachable moments. Look for anything, whether, something that you see in public or something your child may ask you about, or then it's a teachable moment to make it more positive for them if it's a negative thing, but then to make it more positive for them. If it's positive already, make it even more positive. And so those teachable moments are so important. And individually that can happen as well as a group, as a family together. You see things happening. You can teach them both at the same time. But what do you believe the most important thing a child needs to learn from his dad?
Wow, that's such a great question. I think that the most important thing that a child can probably learn from their father, speaking from a Christian perspective, is that there's another father there that loves them unconditionally. As hard as I try, I make mistakes. I can't be there 100% of the time. And I know that there are going to be times where I don't get it right. So if my children understand and know that there's a father there that loves them unconditionally, then I feel like in those moments, God can step in to where I am inadequate, and God can step into those moments when I'm not there. So, I think that's one of the things that we can do is, to train up a child and they'll never depart. And so I think that's probably the greatest thing, two of the greatest moments of my life where, when my children told me they wanted to ask God to come or ask Jesus to come inside their heart. And so I think those are the things. Apart from that and stepping out of the Christian perspective, I believe that, to teach them to problem solve and to be independent and make their own decisions and to make good decisions, because at the end of the day, we get them for a very little bit of time. We can't shelter them forever. And so they're going to be in situations where they're tempted. They're going to be in situations where other people try to influence them. And so to set them up for success, to be able to recognize those things and to have confidence in their own decisions, I think is a big thing. I think social media, as much as I love it as a tool, I think it is very difficult in society today because it's very easy for someone to do something, post it on social media, and to have 100 people tell them that they're not good, or 100 people to say, I don't like this. And so that's a pressure that they have to deal with that, me and you didn't have to deal with growing up. And so I think just, giving them a self-identity and rooting that in who they are and giving them the ability to believe in themselves. I think that's a huge component as well. And I think those two things, really tie into to who they are as the identity in Christ.
Jason, I just thinking about some of the conversations I've had with dads over the years. It seems like those dads that do invest with their children when they're young, like your children are, or even younger, like my grandchildren are, when they get older, they remember certain things that really stuck to them, and you don't even know if it really stuck or not. You're like, you really get this, and then down the road they tell you that. Our daughter has even told me that particularly about some things. So it does work to invest that time, and it does work to have those teachable moments. And no matter what's going on in their world, if it's negative, you have to be the one to let them know that, hey, you're not like that. We're not going to believe that, because I try to teach when I do my lessons. Sometimes I'll say home needs to be the safest place there is. I mean, they need to know they can come home and not just be safe physically, they need to be safe, mentally, everything. You got to wrap your arms around. That's what families do. I think being a dad is important. I think being a mom's important, regardless of the way that, however those two dynamics come together in that particular world. But you're both important in that child's life. As long as it's positive and not hurting the child or whatever. So your vision for family and doing the right thing and all the time, I think it'll transition into that, come across in those movies that you're going to be producing. So tell us a little bit about that. What you got going on right now? That's what really kind of intrigued me to start talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So myself and a partner named Ash Grayson created a company to really take advantage of some new crowdfunding laws that got signed in 2016, which allowed me and you, the everyday people, to really own a piece of a company that was set up through a certain regulation. I've studied crowdfunding for the past 3 or 4 years, and to back it up a little bit and the reason why we exist and kind of our beliefs behind it, I produced 2 movies over in my past. There were some things that are inherently challenging about producing films. One is sometimes it's extremely risky. The other is, raising the capital, producing the movie, but then marketing the film after the movie. What a lot of people don't understand is, some of these movies, especially in the faith-based world, if they make them for $2 or $3 million, they may go spend $6 or $7 million in marketing the film. Sometimes it's 2 and 3x. Just so that people are aware of it. And so, that's a real problem in the industry when you can make a great film, but if you don't have the marketing money, no one will ever see it. And so we looked at all of that. And when the crowdfunding laws changed and people started to be able to own part of that company, we looked at it as a great opportunity. God really worked on me in the sense that I've been a part of some Christian men's executive groups that have really taught me that you can do something around your faith Monday through Saturday. It just doesn't happen on Sunday. And so, they really taught me the avenues that, hey, your business, you can really create culture and run your business in such a way. So for me, this was just a phenomenal opportunity that I get to go and basically build a company with hundreds or thousands of Christian fans. I get to wake up and do it every single day with other people, and we get to go and spread the gospel. And so it was just really an amazing thing. And so we basically created the world, to our knowledge, the world's first fan-owned, Christian-owned movie studio to make faith and family films. And so my partner, Ash, has been in the industry a little bit longer than I have, but he's worked on some amazing films, especially in the marketing world. Like God's Not Dead, I Can Only Imagine. He is working on I Still Believe right now from the marketing side. And so, we really looked at this and said, hey, there's power in numbers. If we can get 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people who are centered around an affinity and believe the same things that we can believe, there's really no stopping what we can do. And so, we want to collectively go and make films to go and spread the gospel, to give good family entertainment. I don't think anyone will argue today that our kids watch a lot of YouTube. They watch a lot of video. That's the way messages are being, conveyed today. And so I believe that we have to get in the fight. 5 billion videos per day. That's what kids watch, or people in general watch on YouTube. And so for us, that's a staggering number. And so we just feel like that we want to make some things that are ethical, that we can use to teach our kids. I use films at a young age to learn a lot of my traits. That's where I learned about courage and honor and things of that nature. So when my parents got divorced, I watched a lot of movies. And so, a lot of those characters are shaped me in a way. And so, I did learn it from my parents, but at the same time, when I saw somebody do something in media, that became a part of me as well. And so we just want to make sure that we're putting content out there that if a kid does see something, that they walk away better from it and not worse.
I really applaud what you're trying to do. My wife and I have sat around for, a few years now watching live stream videos or live stream movies, and we're seeing more and more of this, but we also go and support. We support when we see a faith-based movie come out, we'll go watch it, but not only just to support it for that reason, but to support it because it's got a good message. Our world needs a lot of hope today, Jason, doesn't it? Our world needs a lot of inspiration. We need to teach our kids about, take the dream that's inside of you and inspire others with it, to help other people. And when you do these kinds of things in the way of a movie, because people like to be entertained, but you do it with a message. We recently see Mr. Rogers' movie, and the kind of guy that he was. He did so much off screen to help people and to encourage people and help them with their individual problems sometimes. It's just amazing that, because I really got into it, I got into listening because I watched a little bit of it when I was a kid. I appreciate and applaud what you're doing because you have this vision to do this. But why is it so important to bring these kind of movies to light today? More and more.
I think that if you look at it, there's a lot of OTTs that are coming out right now. If you really look at the streaming game, right? Disney, Hulu, Netflix. There's just a lot of media being consumed, right? And so I believe that those are all pipelines and something is going to get pushed through those pipelines, right? And so for us, I believe that, we kind of have a responsibility to create ethical, good content that can teach people, right? And entertain at the same time. That's one of the great things. That's one of the big things that I do hear about faith-based and family films. Sometimes they're cheesy. Sometimes the stories aren't great, and I'll concede that sometimes that may be the case. And so everyone has to strive to get better and strive to be better. And I think people are really doing that. I mean, you have people like the Kendricks brothers. If you look at some of their films and their progression, they kept getting better. A lot of people don't realize some of those early films were a lot of volunteers. They were just getting together and doing it in community, right? And it kind of caught fire. But their next film was better. Their next film was better. Their next film was better. And so all of those just kept on stacking on top of each other and getting better and better and better. And to go back to your other question, or go back to your original question about why we need it, I mean, I think, when you look at our country, I've never been in a time where I feel like we're so divided, whether that is from a belief system or from a political system or whatever it is. I mean, I feel like if there's ever a time that we need to be able to sit down and watch something together, it's now.
I had a chance, an opportunity to interview Alex Kendrick for the release of Courageous.
Oh yeah.
It was a great movie. Of course, my background from the career I've had, I wanted to see that too. It was so interesting. The dance scene that really kind of brought me to silence. I mean, it was powerful. It was powerful because of the father-daughter relationship there. So, I mean, movies can tell a great story. I want our folks to know, how can they be involved called Hire Studios?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way they can be involved is a couple different ways. They can go to our website. They can Google Called Hire Studios, or they can go to calledhirestudios.com, and they can just sign up for free for on our email list. They can just be a part of the community and interact. They can go to our social media, our Facebook or our Instagram, and they can follow us. They can just be a part of the community. We love that because in our model, we really want to have a relationship with people and collectively make films. And so we believe and we see a pathway, for instance, where our community can help us shape storylines. We've even had discussions about sending out audition tapes or for roles for certain characters and letting people vote and actually letting them help cast the film in certain roles. And so we think that's a pretty amazing thing that we can do, but really to let people be involved. And then the way we're set up to be the first Christian fan owned company, they can actually own part of our company and own stock in our company. The way they can do that is there's a special portal set up that the Securities and Exchange Commission requires us to use, which is an SEC and FINRA approved portal called Start Engine. If you go to our website, I believe there's an Invest Now button that you can click, and that will take you directly there. Or you can just Google Called Hire Studios and Start Engine, and that would come up as well. And then, they can look and read about us. They can learn more about us, read the Form C and all of our disclosures. And, if this is something that they believe in, then, they can actually become an owner of our company.
Well, folks, if you want to learn more, you just go to, what website is it again? Or
they can go to calledhirestudios.com and they can go through there. There's an Invest Now button that links directly to there, or they can Google Called Hire Studios Start Engine, and that would come up too. And so we have some amazing investors. I believe you and your wife, Glenda, actually, joined our team as well after you did a little research. So glad to have you guys on board.
True mission there to help families, and that's what Dads for Life is here to do. So we wanted to be a part of what you're doing to help families. So we are excited to be a part of your team. We're excited to see where this is going to go. I believe it's going to go far, knowing what's ahead of us. Or ahead of you. I want those that are listening or watching us here on the Dad Connection, I want you to think about something. Have you ever been to a movie and you just didn't think that that everything was put into it that could have been put into it? I want you to think about possibly going to some movies in advance. And what you do, you can get in. I think you can start as low as a very minimal fee. I mean, we're not talking thousands of dollars here, folks. You can get in for minimal fees. So you go there and see the list and all that stuff and invest what you can to get started. But all you're doing is helping to go to a movie in advance that you want to see, because I've talked to Jason long enough to know that I feel like he is going to produce some really awesome movies down the road. We all have a vision, ladies and gentlemen, whatever it is. I mean, we should have a vision anyway. Our vision may have been blindsided. It may have had some things coming across our vision eyes, or we can't see that anymore. But or listen to it on the podcast. I want you to figure out what is your purpose? What are you doing here in life? Because I feel like I heard it once say, Jason, that the two most important days in a person's life is the day he's born and the day he finds out why.
It's a great, great statement.
You know, and when you think you find out why, so you are being called to bring out wholesome and family entertainment, and the Dad Connection is so excited to be a part, or the Dads for Life, and my wife and I are glad to be a part of that and what you're doing to bring wholesome entertainment to the family.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. You know, I mean, I will say this: we have been overwhelmed with the support. You know, I guess the way that we set it up, you know, people aren't really investing or owning a single film. They own part of our studio, which means they'll own a piece of everything that we do in the future. And we've had so many people reach out to us through social media. The comments have been amazing. People just reaching out really in encouragement a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about Jason Brown, one of the founders of Called Hire Studios. And if you want to be a part of it, you go to what website again, Jason?
CalledHireStudios.com, or you can just Google Called Hire Studios, and I'm sure you can find a couple links to our website or to the Start Engine page.
So any final words?
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you that you're out there doing what you're doing, speaking into dads. I've heard somebody say that, inside of an apple seed, there's not just a tree, there's orchards. And so, it looks like that you're planting seeds and helping other people. And so, that's an amazing thing. So keep doing what you're doing as well.
Whenever you're watching this broadcast, the day that you're watching it or listening to it on our podcast, I want you to think about this. What if you were not influencing your child? Who would be influencing them? So where would their values come from? Where would their self-worth come from? That's what Jason's going to be doing through the movies. He's going to be building inspiration in not only parents, but everyone that watches his films. And that's what we ask you to do at Dads for Life, is to do that for your own children. No, Jason, thank you so much for being with us on the Dad Connection.
Oh.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time right here on the Dad Connection. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you so much, Keith. See you guys. Bye.